Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Thank you as always for tuning back in. If you're new here, welcome. I'm Layla, the Lenormand reader, and I use the amazing Lenormand deck. So have a look at the links that I have for you so you can explore and master this amazing deck. We are in a new weekly reading. We've got the Zen deck, and we are going to be doing a line of 7 today. So let's go ahead and start with you, Aries, and see what is in store for you this week. Okay, Aries, here is your line of 7. It's looking pretty lovely because we have the star at the end of the line. The star is an all-around wish fulfillment card, and so we see that there's a positive progression here towards this kind of achievement that we see with the stars. Earlier, we have the tree and tower, and these are slower cards. And I have to say also, Aries, the whole line is kind of slow. So there is an evolution, a progression, something that is unfolding gradually that materializes in a very positive way for you. Something else that stands out is the lily and fox, and these cards can have different meanings, but together they suggest this idea of work and jobs. So it looks like things are progressing positively at work or in some practical activity in your life, Aries. And it sounds like given time, and I think also putting in the work and doing things gradually, it's going to lead to the success that you're after. Now, earlier we have the cross and road, and this often means a choice, being at crossroads and having to make a decision. And it sounds like there's a couple of things that could happen here. Either you need to take your time with the decision to make an informed choice and to make the right choice for you, so that you pursue the right direction. In this process, I feel, Aries, that it's possible that you tap into some kind of expert or someone senior or someone who has more experience or who's been there, because the lily and tower tend to point to people who are older or more senior. So I think it could be an advantage for you if you have such people in your life, Aries, to reach out to them and see how they can support you in this progress. In another sense, Aries, it looks like you are going to make the right decision and you are going to put yourself on a path of growth. I have to say that with the lily, tree, and tower, even though they're not very fast or exciting cards, they're not bubbly, they're kind of more quiet, but they still have to do with growth and expertise. And so it's very possible, Aries, that you either get a promotion or you're on the right track to pursue some kind of improvement in your life, in your situation. So some really bright cards for growth and success. I also want to say, Aries, the cards are really quiet and kind of slow. So it sounds like an inner week where you're doing the right things for you, where you're pursuing the things that you know are going to lead to success. There is an element of discipline, consistency, patience, and doing the right things in order to achieve your goals. And it sounds like you will. So some really nice cards, very good for work and jobs, very good for other practical areas, and also great for a sense of consistency and improvement, gradual improvement, because we see that it really works out. Let me know, Aries, in what context we can also look at these pairs here. We've got the lily and tree, which is adding to what we suggested earlier, this element of growth and maturity. The road and tower is definitely a path for the longer term. So again, we're seeing this element of longevity and the slowness in the cards. And the cross and star is great for, I would say, even an element of spirituality where there's an inner dimension to what you're doing and it brings fulfillment. I think this could be part of your destiny, things that are important to you, because the cross and star have an element of, shall we say, greatness or something bigger, for your life. So also make sure, Aries, that what you're doing is contributing to your bigger goals day by day. That this is always good advice, so that you can feel fulfilled with what you're doing at the end of the day. Let me know what you make of these ideas, Aries. As always, I look forward to your thoughts and feedback. Very best of luck with the week. Thank you for tuning in. And until next time, take very good care of yourself. Okay, Taurus, let's get into your line of 7 and let's see what is in store for you this week. Okay, Taurus, here is your line of 7. It's looking bright, mainly because we have the beautiful sun at the end of the line, but we also have the key earlier. We do have a couple of challenging cards. We have the mouse at the top and the clouds at the beginning, but obviously with the sun at the end of the line, you're able to overcome these challenges. So we have the letter, which is a news card, and so the clouds earlier can be suggestion that the news is not so good, or maybe you're not sure what to make of it, or perhaps you're anticipating it. But we also have the mouse on the other side of the key. So this is about solving a problem or figuring out some of the details that have to do with this news card. The key is quite strong. It's a very positive card. So really, any issues that are brought by the clouds and mouse are easily overcome. Now, the dog and stork is about activity with friends, and with the sun, there is a lovely energy here. So it's wonderful for getting together with someone. Maybe you hear news from this person and it's exciting. Maybe initially there is some misunderstanding or some issues that you and this person are working through, but clearly you overcome them and you enjoy some really good times together. This would be great for a personal relationship or a friendship. The dog can represent other kinds of relationships, though. It can represent a colleague, a customer, or someone else in your life. And again, the same dynamic applies. You're anticipating news or communication. Perhaps there are some issues that you need to resolve with this person or with their help. And with the stork and sun, there is a very positive resolution. Regardless of the context, Taurus, it's very clear that there is a focus on people, there is a focus on this person and communication. So be sure you stay on top of this and that you're there to be in contact, and also be solution oriented. So if there are problems or other issues that come up, be solution oriented, because on the other side of the problems, there is a very good energy, really good vibes with this person and positive activity. So really nice cards, good news or resolutions, and positive ways forward with this person or with the help of this person. The key and dog is certainly someone who can bring answers. It's also a good suggestion for collaborating. So again, this element of being a team player and in contact and being willing to give and take is highlighted. The letter and stork is about this news that kicks things off. And this is a lovely message here with the sun on the other side of the clouds. You can dispel doubts, you can dispel problems, you will find solutions, and anything that was confusing or not clear or a source of tension is positively resolved. So really good cards, Taurus. Again, focus on this person, focus on being available, and be a good team player, and you'll find that whatever issues come up, you're able to resolve them and move forward in these lovely ways. Let me know what you make of this, Taurus. Let me know who this person was, what the issue was, if you're willing to share. As always, I look forward to your thoughts and feedback. Thank you for tuning in. Very best of luck with the week. And until next time, take very good care of yourself. Okay, Gemini, let's get into your line of 7 and let's see what is in store for you this week. Okay, Gemini, here is your line of 7. It's a little bit tricky. We have the snake at the peak of the pyramid of the line. And the snake is often a card of deception and things that are not okay. In the context here, we've got the dog and letter. This has to do with a person, some news, some communication. It seems to me, Gemini, that some things are not what they seem to be, and you need to watch out for anything that could be a trap or deceptive or not aligned with you, but maybe you don't see this from the get-go. So it's going to be important to read between the lines. I think with the cross, clouds, and letter, I think you might turn something down and move away from this person here. So let's back up to the beginning. We have the mountain, stork, and dog. Normally, Gemini, this would be a move somewhere, a trip, someone who's coming from abroad, or perhaps someone online. The stork is a card of action and activity, and it can be about travel and going places. And so with the mountain and dog here, you could be looking at events or activities or even invitations with a person, from a person. Now, the snake, I think, brings doubts. So you probably don't feel this person. You're not sure about what they're suggesting. And when we look at the cross, clouds, and letter, this points to having to make an important decision, thinking things through carefully, and also reading between the lines, certainly with the letter. And I think that because the cross and clouds, and also with the snake, These are not the greatest of cards. I think you're likely to turn this down, Gemini, and the cards could actually be advising you to be careful about this. So if not advising you to turn it down, in the very least, Gemini, have a look at this twice and think about it more carefully. The dog and cross points to a decision that you have to make about this person. I also think that you could be feeling this person is a bit burdensome, a bit heavy. They could be maybe coming on too strong, or you feel like it's a bit of a drag. The stork and clouds can bring up issues or problems. It's like dust is raised up in the air, and there is an element of confusion. And the mountain and letter points to this news, probably that comes from abroad, from another location, or that was possibly delayed or on hold for some reason. But in all cases, Gemini, I'm not so sure this is a great idea with this person. Give it a bit more time, give it a bit more thought to make a decision. And in all probability, I think you're going to turn it down. But in case you don't, it's still important for you to get into the details to make sure you know what this is about. The cards can be in different contexts. It could be personal, it could be work related, or something else. But in all cases, Gemini, I'm not so sure this is a great idea, at least at this time. So again, take your time with this, give it a bit more thought, and see how you respond. Read between the lines, understand what this is about, and also appreciate that maybe things are not what they seem to be. And also, people's intentions might not be what they seem to be. So this is a bit of a cautionary kind of reading. It advises you to be warned and to be careful about what is coming your way. So it's always good advice. Let me know what you make of it. Leave me a comment or two, Gemini, if you're willing to share who this person was. What is it you were having doubts about, if you're willing to share. Thank you for tuning in. Very best of luck with the week. And until next time, take very good care of yourself. Okay, Cancer, let's get into your line of 7 and let's see what is in store for you this week. Okay, Cancer, here is your line of 7, and I'm seeing some news for a few of us this week. We're seeing it for yourself as well, Cancer. We've got the letter, but earlier we have the cross and clouds, which can be a bit of a question mark here around the news or the decision around the news. The cross is often a card of decisions, and often not easy ones, and the clouds is a card of thought. So with the letter, you could be thinking about how to respond or what to make of this news. Now, at the peak of your pyramid, we have the child, which is a card of new beginnings. So you could be moving in a new direction, and maybe this is part of what you're thinking of announcing. You could be making changes and making moves. And actually, with the snake and bear, you could be turning away from a situation, an important situation, or perhaps the bear represents someone in your life. Usually, as a person, the bear is someone in authority, someone who has dominance. It could be a boss, it could be a parent, people like that. So it sounds like you are making a change, you're moving in a new direction, and the issue here is about how you transition, how you communicate this to this person, or how you move away from your current situation. I have to say, though, Cancer, that with the flowers, which is a very bright card, and it's right next to the child, this is a lovely new beginning for you. It's just that with the snake and bear, it's about how you turn away, how you make the move, how you make the change. The flowers and snake often represent someone who's false to your face. So there is a chance that there is a trap or something is not what it seems to be. But I think overall in the line, it makes more sense for the flowers and snake along with the bear to suggest that you need to be, sort of maybe roundabout and nice about it as you make a move. You could also be turning someone down in favor of something else. And so it's about, how you communicate that. But I think the line overall is pretty clear in terms of what it's suggesting. You've got a new beginning. It's about how you communicate it and how you make the change and move away from the situation that you're in. So really exciting in the sense of making a change, Cancer. The letter and flowers is great for good news, So this could be the news you get that enables you to make a change, or how you communicate your change. Again, the flowers is about being nice, so make an effort, Cancer. The clouds and snake is trickier. It has to do with the hidden things and the tension and the sensitivity also of the matter. So again, I feel you're sort of treading on eggshells a little bit as you make this change, Cancer. The cross and bear can be a pretty big step. I have to say, this could be a big decision. And so tying into this new beginning, you could be making a significant change. This could be a pretty important new beginning for you, Cancer. So it's quite an important transition for you, but it is bright. It is a good thing for you. The idea here is really how you transition, how you communicate the change, and how you move away from the current situation in order to embrace this new beginning. Also, Cancer, the cards don't tell us in what context this figures. This can figure in your work life, in your personal life, in some other area. This is flexible. We don't really see this in the cards. So you let me know in what context this was happening for you, Cancer. I hope this is a new, nice beginning for you. Leave me a thought or two if you're willing to share. As always, I look forward to your feedback. Very best of luck with this, Cancer, as always. Thank you for tuning in. And until next time, take very good care of yourself. Okay, Leo, let's get into your weekly reading. Let's draw this line of 7 and see what is in store for you. Okay, Leo, look at this line. This can point to a new relationship and also letting go of someone. I have to say, this is, there's quite a clear parts. There are clear parts here to the line. We have the man in one side, which is a person, and we have the dog on the other side, which is also a person. On this side, we have the child and Lily, which points to a new phase with this person. And on this side, we have the coffin and mouse on either side of the dog, which point to an ending with this person. So it's clear that we have two people, that there are two different things happening around these people, and you could be changing relationships. You could be going with someone and letting go of someone else. In the middle, we have the key. The key is a card of success, and so it is encouraging. It tells us that you would be on the right track when you make these changes. Backing up a little bit, we have the child and Lily. This is a new phase. The Lily is often a card of the long term. It affects your life as a whole. And with the man, it can bring up like a serious relationship or a committed relationship. It can also point to someone professional because the Lily is associated with career. Regardless of the context, there's definitely a new phase with a person, and the key is encouraging. The key and coffin is about closure, and the dog and mouse points to the relationship that you seem to be closing off. So again, there are two things happening here with people. The dog and mouse suggests usually issues of trust, problems with a person, tension between you and another person. So it sounds like this is a relationship that you bring to a close, whereas this is the relationship that you move into. And with the key, again, it encourages you to do this, so you are on the right track. So some really interesting things could be happening here, depending on your specific scenario, Leo. But it's clear that there are changes in your relationships. A new one is opening up, and another one is closing off. Now, the cards don't really tell us in what context this is. It could be in your personal life. Maybe you're changing friends or changing partners, or just making adjustments in your social life as a whole, and you feel that some people need to go and you're going to focus on others. That is possible. In terms of work, you could be leaving a job in favor of another. You could be focusing on one customer and closing things off with another. So there is a transition situation here. In other areas of your life, for example, I'm thinking that people like lawyers, accountants, other people who agents, other people who help you in your life, maybe health practitioners and so on. You could be, changing people. You could decide to go with one person and let go of another. All of these are possible. So the context is not really salient. It's not really clear in the cards. The Lily can hint at work, but it is also a broader card. So that's flexible. The man and coffin is about the end of a relationship. So again, we're seeing this here. The lilies and dog is about a long-term friendship. So again, we're seeing the two parts, but also there, we're getting confirmations across the pairs here. And the child and mouse points to a new beginning. And I have to say, Leo, that this might not be an easy start. In this order of the cards, especially, the mouth at the end can point to some issues or some difficulties. So the transition is probably not the easiest, but it seems to be the right thing to do. And I think the key also tells us that you've got to do this. You've got the answers within you to make this change and adjust your connections and your relationships. So a really interesting spread, Leo. It's potentially challenging. It's not very challenging. The mouse is a little bit difficult. I don't think it's the end of the world or it's very dramatic as you make the change. I think the key being, such a bright and happy card, which unlocks potential. It's clear that this is what needs to happen, and I think you're at peace with it, and you're willing to make this change. So I would say interesting cards and potentially also really nice cards. Let me know what you make of this, Leo. It's an interesting dynamic. I look forward to um, hearing what your specific scenario was. As always, these details are always interesting and insightful to see how different people connect with the same set of cards. Very best of luck with this. Thank you as always for tuning in. And until next time, take very good care of yourself. Okay, Virgo, let's draw your line of 7 and let's see what is in store for you this week. Okay, Virgo, here is your line of 7. It's looking generally bright. We have a couple of very bright cards, the sun and the clover. But we have the snake at the top and the mouse earlier, so there can be a bit of a sensitive situation that you navigate. But I think you do this really well, and you end up moving forward very positively. We have the fish in the line. The fish is often a sign of work and money being in focus because it's the main card of money and wealth. So you could be working through something in relation to your money, your work, your business, or a similarly practical area in your life. So let's back up here and see what is going on. So the mouse and sun clearly points to overcoming obstacles. Any issues, any problems that are brought by the mouse are easily overcome with the sun. And the rider suggests that you're moving forward, but the snake at the top is a card of, first, it can be a card of deception. So we see it next to the dog. It can highlight someone whom you need to be cautious of. And also the snake is a card of indirect paths. So the way you move forward, especially with this person, needs to be careful and calculated, and it seems to be indirect. But we have the clover and fish on the other side of this, which is great for getting what you want, especially in terms of money, work, and business. Maybe you are after a project, after a customer, or after a job or some other goal. And the way to do this is really to overcome your doubts and then to navigate it carefully. And when it comes to the people you need to deal with in this context, you need to be careful and calculated, and you need to sort of charm the birds off the trees, as it were. You need to be a bit of a charmer, you need to be diplomatic, and you need to expect that it might not be very quickly. But it sounds like you are able to win over this person successfully and get what you are after. So it's great for getting a job, a project, a customer. There's some really, really bright cards here. It's just that the way you do it is a bit tricky. And I think you're going to be on top of this, Virgo, and you're going to succeed at this. So really nice cards for success if you're willing to put in a bit of an indirect kind of approach, and if you're willing to be patient with this and deal with it. The rider and dog is great for approaching people, for communicating with people. So put in the effort again, Virgo, because it looks like it's going to pay off. The sun and clover is very, very lucky. This is a beautiful pair for all around success. The mouse and fish can be a bit challenging. It can point to maybe waste, or maybe the money is not as much as you'd like it to be, or the income or the benefits of this. So there can be a bit of a compromise here, but I still think that overall, especially since we have the sun and clover, really, really bright cards, overall, I think it's going to be pretty beneficial for you, and there's quite a bit of success. So I would say these are some really nice cards, Virgo. Again, they require some patience and an indirect approach, and being willing to, work with someone in order to win them over. But I think you do end up successful, and you do get what you want. You get the project, the customer, whatever benefit you're after. So some really bright cards in this sense. Now, I think the cards are mainly about your work and, these areas, because we have the fish. It's also at the end of the line, so it can have a bit of weight in that sense. But in terms of a personal relationship, I think the cards are also positive. The snake is always a bit more difficult when it comes to people, and we do see it next to the dog. So it is about managing a person, and I think maybe adjusting a little bit your connection with this person. But if you're willing to do this, Virgo, I think you can bring it back on a really sound footing. And also, Virgo, if there is someone who could be a threat or someone who's difficult, I think you will find a way to neutralize this and manage the relationship really well. So I think there are bright cards in any context. Let me know what you make of these cards, Virgo. I'm very curious to know what this sensitive approach was, if it applied to you. So leave me a comment or two if you're willing to share. Thank you for tuning in as always. Very best of luck with the week. And until next time, take very good care of yourself. Okay, Libra, let's get into your line of 7 and let's see what is in store for you this week. Okay, Libra, here is your line of 7. It's looking exciting for a new beginning. There are some obstacles that you overcome, and also there are some steps that you need to take that could be a little bit challenging as you move forward. But it is clear from the Child and Bear, this could be an important new beginning for you. And I'm seeing this theme across a few signs as well, not just yourself, Libra. So it sounds like there's something going on this week for many of us. Now, earlier on, we have a challenging pair. We have the Fox and Whip. And this could be problems with your work and also your money. We have the Fish and Fox on either side of the Whip, and each of these cards can be connected with your work. The Fish, more specifically, is about finances, but broadly speaking, it can be about work and jobs. And so with the Whip between them, there can be a challenge and there can be an ending, especially since we have the Child later on. So there can be a problem that causes you to move jobs or leave and make changes. But it could also be you parting. The dog at the top usually represents friends, usually, and in the context of work, it can point to colleagues or it can point to yourself as an employee. With the Child, there is a new relationship or a new situation that you're moving into here. It's a new relationship with the dog, and if the dog represents you as an employee, it could be a new job. This would build on the previous cards as well. The Bear makes everything important, Libra. So with the Child, it can point to an important new step, and the Mouse can point to some challenges that you have to deal with as you move into this new beginning. So from one perspective or one interpretation, it looks like you could be in for a new job. There are changes, possibly difficult ones, that lead you to this, but also you could be the one who is making the change, and it could cause a bit of a shake-up around you. Now, another way we can read these cards, Libra, is in terms of a new person that comes into the picture. And the dog is specifically the card that represents this person. It is often a card of friends, of people, usually in your peer group, but it's flexible. In the context of work, since we have the Fox and Fish, it can represent a colleague. And with the Child, Bear, and Mouse, you could have a bit of difficulty getting the relationship off the ground, or the person could have a bit of a hard time integrating. So that could be the highlight of the week. In other contexts, we could be looking at a personal relationship or some other person in your life, Libra, but the idea is essentially the same. There are changes that lead to this new relationship, and there can be a bit of a hard time getting the relationship off the ground, or the collaboration or whatever you do with this person. If you're in business for yourself, for example, Libra, you might fall out with a customer. You might move into another connection as a result of that as well. There can be some problems that you are having here, and part of resolving them is to focus on this person, on this customer, or this collaboration, whatever it is specifically in your context. So the cards are good for turning around the problem and moving into a new beginning. But in terms of the connection and people and personal relationships, the cards are a little bit difficult, Libra, because they bring up there isn't like the warmest connection. It sounds like the connection is not on the best footing, and so you need to work through this, especially as you transition into a new beginning. Now, the fish and child points to a wonderful new opportunity in terms of money. So again, I think there is a hopeful message here that you are turning around a situation and moving into a new beginning. Usually the fish is about money, work, and business, but in other contexts, it does bring a sense of opportunity, and it tends to be associated with abundance. The whip and bear can be quite challenging, Libra. You might need the courage and the strength and stamina to step up to the challenge here. And the fox and mouse can bring up doubts and question marks and things like traps or things that are deceptive. So it's going to be important, Libra, for you to focus on the details and to be aware of what you're dealing with, what kind of people you're dealing with, agreements or collaborations or communications. You need to be thorough and check in everything, and also read between the lines and just being really alert. So it sounds like there's a lot on your plate right now, but in order to move forward, Libra, it's pretty clear that you need to make a change, let go of what isn't working, potentially let go of some people and connect with a new relationship here, or take a new step in this direction in order to resolve the issues. You don't resolve the issues immediately. You still have to work through some details, but I think the main issue is going to be behind you soon enough. So it does take a bit of effort. It does take a bit of being willing to show up and to stand up to this and to navigate relationships as well, Libra. But I think you're going to be on top of it soon enough. Just be willing to be patient a while longer. So let me know what you make of these ideas, Libra. A little bit heavy-handed this week. I'd be curious to know what kind of scenario these cards played in your picture. These details are always insightful if you're willing to share. Thank you for tuning in. Very best of luck with this, Libra. And until next time, take very good care of yourself. Okay, Scorpio, let's get into your weekly reading. Let's draw this line of 7 and see what is in store for you this week. Okay, Scorpio, here is a really nice line. We have all around positive cards from beginning to end. We have the beautiful key and sun at the end. These are very bright and success-oriented cards. And earlier we have progress and movement and a sense of achievement. So really nice cards. I have to say that in contrast to a few of us this week, your cards are brighter. We have the ship, ring, and rider. So this is very much about moving forward in a direction, and I would say the same one you're on, because the ring is about continuity. So you want to stick with what you're doing, Scorpio, until you achieve what you want. The anchor is a card of achievement. It's really nice to see it after these three and also in the middle of your line. So you're definitely on the right track, and you're definitely going to land on what you want, especially since we have these very beautiful cards afterwards. The heart, key, and sun are beautiful success, happiness, all around fulfillment cards. So very beautiful message here. Now, the ring is a flexible card in the sense that it could represent something that you're committed to doing. It could represent a relationship, and it could also point to other involvements that you're in. So in terms of your goals and your pursuits, you're on the right track. You're going to arrive at what you want. So keep doing what you're doing. In terms of relationships, there can be some really good progress here with a person. The rider and anchor can mean that you meet, because the rider is often associated with a visitor, a messenger, and so it can represent a person. And on top of that, we have the heart, key, and sun. These are beautiful cards for positive feelings, for a wonderful connection, and for all around happiness. So these are just great cards, Scorpio. They're also very clear and straightforward, and they're great for any context. One more suggestion is possibly in terms of travel, because we have the ship and rider. Both of them are movement cards, and maybe you have, you're following up on a trip, or you have people, or the goal of this trip is to meet with some people. The anchor suggests arriving, and with the heart, key, and sun, you're having a really good time here, and it's a all around happy situation. So really nice cards, Scorpio, and I would say in any context, we are looking at achievement, at a strong connection, and overall fulfillment. The Rider and Heart is lovely for pursuing the things that you love. It's also great for relationships. There is definitely an element of getting closer here, and the connection softening up, and all of these nice feelings coming in. The Ring and Key is also great for a relationship, and it's also great for being on the right track and being in the right pursuits. So you're doing the right things again, Scorpio. The Ship and Sun is lovely. This can represent summer. It can represent happy trips, traveling, vacations, and things like that. And it's also great for achievement and being on the right track. So any way you look at these cards, Scorpio, they are so bright. They are one of the brightest this week. I certainly hope you resonate with this, and I hope it materializes for you. Leave me a comment about what was working out this week and what you were able to achieve, or if it was a relationship, how it went. I certainly hope it works out beautifully. Thank you for tuning in, Scorpio. Very best of luck with the week. And until next time, take very good care of yourself. Okay, Sagittarius, here is your line of 7. Let's go ahead and deal out these cards and see what is in store for you. Okay, Sagittarius, here is your line of 7. It's looking bright for a relationship. The cards are mostly neutral. There's more of a dynamic that is represented here. At the same time, there is a peaceful energy and what looks to be a strong, secure connection. We have the Ring in the middle. This is a card of relationships. It doesn't have to be just about relationships. It can point to commitments and involvements, but we also have the Dog and Garden, and these are social cards. We have the Letter, which is a card of communication, and we have the House, which can also bring up people through family, friends, or people who are in your closer circles. So I think there's a pretty strong focus on relationships here, Sagittarius, and so it's going to pay to spend time with people, to connect with them, to give and take. The Lily and Tower are both slow, long cards. They can represent the long-term future, the long-term past. They can also represent a sense of longevity. And so we could be looking at your long-term security, past relationships you've known for a long time, and such situations. The Lily and Tower can also bring up things that are official, that are related to authority, legal, admin, or maybe in relation to your work and your career. In all cases, these are supportive cards in the sense that they bring a sense of predictability and security. The House here can represent your family home. It can represent someone at the top, an office at the top. It can also represent your team on the job, or again, this idea of longer term relationships. But I think the House brings up this element of intimacy. So it tends to be people who are closer to you, and it can also represent like family roots and people like that, especially with these cards. The Ring, obviously, this is adding this element of security. So I think these are some pretty tight relationships, very close, and there is a sense of commitment with these people. The Letter, Dog, and Garden can mean a few things. Obviously, it points to contact and communication with this person or these people, and the Garden can suggest a meeting. So it sounds like this could be a gathering, getting together with people. It could be an invitation. It could also be the idea of planning for it. So if you're planning to reunite with some family members or some people from another chapter in your life, or people you've known for a long time, this could be a good time for getting together with people. It could also mean that you're pursuing a meeting with someone at the top. Like we said, these are cards of, official kind of cards. So they can represent someone in authority, admin, legal, and such areas. So maybe you're pursuing a meeting with someone for this area or for a certain purpose. And clearly with these cards, you get it. The cards can also be advice, Sagittarius, in the sense that you do want to pursue a meeting with someone. You want to tap into this connection. And so reach out, see if you can arrange for a meeting, see if you can make the time, and if they can make the time to get together. So it's very solid for a relationship. And I think it's a supportive relationship just because of the, the security and the sense of stability that comes through the cards. But there's definitely an emphasis on people, on connecting with them, on meeting with them, and also on agreeing with them. So the ring in letter is often a contract. And with these more official kind of cards, it's likely, Sagittarius, that you reach some kind of agreement with certain people. So this is definitely the focus, and you want to do what it takes to make it happen. The house in letter is about news or announcements within a certain environment. It could also be communicating just with this group. The tower and dog can represent someone at the top or some people who help you. It can also represent that older relationship. And the lily and garden can represent a few different environments. It could represent the workplace. Sometimes it's associated with health environments like hospitals or wellness retreats and places like that. But the cards also suggest your network and the people in your environment who can support. So I think there's a strong focus on relationships, but also on tapping into the support for your purposes. And it's clear that this is in focus for you. So you need to make time, communicate, give and take, make it happen, see if you can meet and see if you can connect with others or this person. The outcome of this is not really figuring in the cards. I do think that because of the strong ring in the middle with these secure kind of cards, it brings a positive and supportive relationships. And so this is also a clue for you, Sagittarius, to focus on these people, the people whom you know are solid and supportive. And so again, what comes out of this is not really figuring in the cards, but it looks like the relationship is positive. And the relationships can be in different contexts. Yes, we have the Lily and Tower, which can be more official, professional kind of cards, but we could also be looking at friends, family friends, maybe your colleagues. Close connections in your life could also be in what's happening here. So a clear focus on people, Sagittarius, make time for others, communicate, get together, tap into the support group that you have, into the network as well, or specific people in order to pursue what you're after and also to connect. I would say the connection is very much in focus. Let me know what you make of these cards. Let me know who these people were in your context and if it was professional or personal or something else. As always, I look forward to your thoughts and feedback. Thank you for tuning in, Sagittarius. Very best of luck with the week. And until next time, take very good care of yourself. Okay, Capricorn, let's get into your line of 7. Let's deal out these cards and see what is in store for you this week. Okay, Capricorn, here is your line of 7. It's looking a little bit challenging, but not so much challenging as sharp and having to make a change. We have the coffin in the middle of your line, and it is a card of endings, but especially with the scythe and the ring. So this points to the end of a relationship or the end of a phase, and the cross and tower bring up an important new phase, not necessarily new, but an important chapter ahead. So earlier we have the rider, anchor, and ring. This is great for a relationship. It sounds like you've been with this relationship for a while and things were progressing and things are fine. But I feel that because the anchor is after the rider and because we have the coffin and these ending cards here, it sounds like you've achieved what you needed to achieve with this relationship or this involvement, and now it's time to bring it to an ending and a close. So we see this clearly with the coffin, and then we have the scythe. This is a pretty final combination. This is often a combination that suggests a death. Of course, I don't interpret the cards in these ways because it's just 2 cards is just not enough for something like that. But it is pretty final. And on top of that, we have the ring and scythe at this pair. And this is a pretty final combination for a divorce or a separation. So very clear that you achieved what you needed to, and now things are complete and you need to move on. The Cross and Tower is somewhat challenging because we have these cards earlier, but the Cross is also a bit heavy and it can bring a sense of burden and sometimes sacrifice and difficult decisions to make. With the Tower here, you could be thinking about the long term. The Tower is a card of time and longevity, and it could go either into the past or into the future. And so after this ending, you could be refocusing your path ahead. You could also be making some bigger decisions for your life. So it's important for you to come at this juncture, Capricorn, to make a change and see how you move forward. The Cross can also bring up some regrets or a bit of a heavy heart, if you like. But I think you have to let it go at this point, Capricorn. You have to move on. Like I said, the Ring and Scythe is pretty final in terms of a divorce. The Anchor and Cross, it is a combination of strength. You know, you have strength and you have confidence in yourself, but you also have to appreciate that some things need to change at this point. And the idea is really to find your center in the, in the context of this change. If you need to make some sacrifices or you need to let go, the Anchor really supports you with this. There is a sense of having to do things when the Cross shows up, because it has that element of burden and having to bear one's cross. So there is an element of, at this point, you have to do this. The Rider and Tower is nice. It's a bit of a refreshing combination in light of these. It's about moving forward into the next chapter that we're seeing here, like we saw. The Rider is active. It has initiative. So I think you're going to find the energy to move forward once you make these changes, Capricorn. And it's also possible that you go back to a place from the past, or, you go back to some root or some anchor that you have in your life now that you wrap up this relationship or this involvement. So some really clear cards, Capricorn, really clear in terms of the dynamic they bring. Now, in what area? It's flexible in the cards. It could be a personal relationship. It could be a breakup, a divorce, pretty dramatic. It could also be releasing a relationship for some time, or having to go somewhere, having to leave. You could also be letting go of an involvement. So maybe a project or some other piece of work that you were working on, that you were pursuing, now comes to a close and you're able to let go and move on. So a turning of a page here, closure of a chapter, a complete release, I would say, Capricorn. And there is an element also of assessing how you move forward. So quite a powerful moment. Let me know how it goes for you, if this was difficult or if this was actually a welcome change, how you're moving forward and what it is you are releasing, if you're willing to share, Capricorn. Very best of luck with this. Thank you for tuning in as always. And until next time, take very good care of yourself. Okay, Aquarius, let's get into your line of 7 and let's see what is in store for you this week. Okay, Aquarius, here is a really interesting line. We have the snake in the cards that's a little bit off compared to the rest of the cards. And what stands out is the sun and moon. Often, this is a relationship because there's an archetypal association with the masculine and feminine through the sun and moon. So it tends to represent a relationship or a collaboration. But after the sun and moon, we have the snake, and the snake is closest to the moon, which can bring up a little bit the dark side of the moon. So there is a bit of a doubt that comes up in a relationship or in a collaboration. But I have to say that the fish and snake are positive. I certainly see them this way because the snake is clever and the fish is a card of money. So together they're great for pursuing your goals and going after the things that you want. Now let's back up a little bit here. We have the clouds with the lily and sun. And the clouds can bring up some issues or doubts with regards to your work, your career, or the path that you're on. But the sun is quite bright, so it's going to help you overcome your doubts and your question marks. And it is also going to help you see things with more optimism and positivity. The moon adds to this if we're looking at just this side, and it does bring up a collaboration. Maybe earlier you were having some issues with this collaboration or this relationship. And so with the snake here, you might need a more indirect approach, a more diplomatic approach, and also a bit of patience. It's nice to see the fish and mountain. This could be work online or money that you make online, because the mountain can be that. It can also be in another location, maybe farther from where you are. Not necessarily in another country, but generally farther from where you are. So these are some bright cards. I think you get around some obstacles or some initial issues, Aquarius, and you find your way around it. It also sounds like it's focused on your work, your business, the practical things in your life. So it's maybe a little bit tricky, but I think you find your way around it and you're able to, if not secure an opportunity right away, then at least put yourself on the path towards that. The sun and snake is quite bright because the bright sun brings out the wisdom of the snake. So again, there is a need to be patient and a need to be indirect. The lily and fish is lovely for a career that makes good money or a business. So again, I think this could be what's in focus for you. And the clouds and mountain can be some obstacles that you need to overcome in order to, get what you want, achieve your goals. So it's quieter, it's slower, it's a bit more indirect and roundabout, but it still sounds like you're on the right track, Aquarius, to achieve your goals. So be willing to be a bit patient, a bit indirect, and allow things to unfold, but still pursuing what you want. And it sounds like you're going to get that. We're not really seeing people cards. We're not seeing people except through the indirect metaphor of the sun and moon. So if it is about people, Aquarius, again, I think there's a need to let it go. The snake is a bit more challenging when it comes to people. It can bring up someone toxic or deceptive. But I'm not really seeing this side of the snake in these cards. I think it's more about you backing off a little bit, allowing things to unfold, being patient, and letting things go. And hopefully there will be an opportunity through the fish and mountain. So a bit of a slower week, I think, Aquarius. You need to maybe pace yourself and allow the other side to pace itself, if there is another side, and allow things to come together to to materialize on the right time. This doesn't mean that you give up completely. It just means that your approach is a bit more gentle and also maybe a bit more hands-off. Let me know what you make of these ideas. Let me know what was this collaboration or opportunity that you're after, why you sort of needed to slow down, and if this was a person, how you're able to move forward with this person. As always, I look forward to your feedback, Aquarius. Very best of luck with the week. Thank you for tuning in, and until next time, take very good care of yourself. Okay, Pisces, welcome to your weekly reading. Let's do this line of 7. Let's see what is in store for you this week. Okay, Pisces, here is your line of 7. There is the man in the middle. This clearly brings up a relationship. So a person figures for you this week. And we also have the letter earlier. And this is a card of news. And we have the bird, which is also a card of communication. So it sounds like there is a relationship here that's in focus for you. We have the letter heart and clouds. This is interesting because it is about feelings, and the clouds can bring up doubts, and you could be wondering how this person feels about you. There could also be some tension, I would say, on an emotional level with this person. It seems to me that it's more on the personal front. But we have the beautiful star afterwards, which is a card of healing and all around wish fulfillment. So it sounds like things work out really nicely with this person and there's good communication. And the bird and road suggests that things move forward and you're in contact and you're in communication with this person. So these are some really nice cards to reconnect with someone, to connect with someone, to overcome some miscommunication or misunderstanding with this person and move forward positively. I feel that it's about a personal relationship because of the heart and clouds, but it can be in other contexts as well, Pisces, where there's good communication that materializes. The clouds and star is lovely for overcoming these doubts. The heart and bird can suggest a bit of nervousness and anxiety. I guess, if this is a personal relationship, there can be some some tension and some excitement at the same time about reconnecting with this person. And the letter and road points to this news that moves things forward. So it seems to me, Pisces, that you're able to connect with someone and take it from there and move forward. You could also get together, or maybe you could plan that, because the road is about going places as well. And so this can be pretty exciting for you in a relationship. Like I said, I think this is more personal, but in other contexts, it's still a really good message. You could have some positive things materializing through this person or with the help of this person. In terms of a job, for example, you could have an opportunity to get an interview, or you could actually get the job and move forward. The star is quite powerful when it comes to wish fulfillment, so it can be something quite significant as well, Pisces. But in any context, the cards are great. They're great for connecting with this person, for communicating with them, resolving any doubts you had, and moving forward. It could also bring a get together, or going places in order to meet this person. Let me know what you make of these cards. I think they're pretty straightforward. Let me know who this person was, if it was personal or someone else or something else in your life. As always, I look forward to your thoughts and feedback. Very best of luck with this, Pisces. Thank you as always for tuning in. And until next time, take very good care of yourself.